Good morning, students. Yesterday we discussed the solution of symmetric integral equations with the help of Hilbert-Smith theorem, and today we will discuss an example based on this theorem. So the first example is solve the symmetric integral equation GS is equal to Fs plus lambda integral Ks kt gt dt. So let us firstly find the eigenfunctions for the corresponding homogeneous integral equation. So let us take the corresponding homogeneous integral equation given by taking Fs is equal to 0 here. So the corresponding homogeneous integral equation is given by phi s is equal to lambda integral Ks into kt phi t dt. Now taking the term which is function of s outside of the integral, we have phi s is equal to lambda Ks integral kt phi t dt. Let us denote this term by c. So we get phi s is equal to lambda into c into Ks. Now let us solve c. Now c is integral kt phi t dt. Substituting the value of phi t, what is phi t? That is obtained by taking s is equal to t here. This will become lambda c kt. Substituting the value here and taking lambda c outside of the integral. Inside we have kt whole square dt. Taking this term to the left side, we get c into 1 minus lambda into integral kt whole square dt is equal to 0. Now for the non-trivial solution, c should be not equal to 0, because if c will be 0, then from here the solution will be 0. So for the non-trivial solution, c must be not equal to 0. So only possibility is that this term is 0. So from here we get 1 minus lambda into integral kt whole square dt is equal to 0. So from here we can find the value of lambda, and lambda is given by 1 upon integral kt whole square dt. This is our eigenvalue. Now let us find the eigenfunction corresponding to this eigenvalue from the equation 3. From the equation 3, we have phi s is equal to lambda 1 into c into Ks. Substituting the value of lambda 1 here, we get phi s is equal to 1 upon integral kt whole square dt into c Ks. Now from here eigenfunction is obtained by leaving the constant, or we can say taking this as 1, we get the eigenfunction which is given by Ks. Now let us normalize this function dividing by its norm. So the normalized function is given by phi divided by norm of phi. Now the value of function phi, that is Ks, and norm of phi means the square root of inner product of phi with itself. So by definition of inner product, this is given by integral of first function into conjugate of second function square root. Now we can find f1 f2. Now f1 is given by integral f into conjugate of psi. Substituting the value of conjugate of psi, from here we get f1 is equal to integral fs into Ks divided by integral Ks whole square ds square root. Now when lambda is not equal to lambda 1, then we get the unique solution, and that is given by the formula g is equal to f plus c1 psi 1. Now c1 is f1 upon lambda 1 minus lambda. So substituting the value of c1 and psi 1 here, we get the solution of the integral equation. This is the value of c1 here, and the value of psi 1, that is this value. So substituting these two values here, we get the solution which is given by gs is equal to fs plus f1 divided by lambda 1 minus lambda into psi 1s. So this is the solution. Now our next topic is the operator method in the theory of integral equations. So first definition is, what is Fredholm operator? This definition we have already discussed. The operator k operated on the function phi is defined by integral kst phi t dt. This operator is linear operator because it satisfies both the conditions of linear transformations. The first condition is k of phi 1 plus phi 2 is equal to k phi 1 plus k phi 2. And the second condition is k of alpha phi is equal to alpha into k of phi. Here alpha belongs to the field of scalars that can be real or complex. Now next we define what is bounded operator. This operator k that is bounded if for every square integrable function phi and a constant m, we have norm of k phi is less than or equal to m times norm of phi. So if this condition is satisfied, we say that the operator k is bounded operator. Now next we define what is norm of operator k. Norm of operator k that is defined by the supremum of norm of kg divided by g norm, or we can say that norm of k is defined by the supremum of kg norm, where this supremum is taken all g of norm 1. Next we define continuous linear operator. Suppose we have the operator k, we say that the operator k is continuous in L2 space whenever a sequence phi n in the domain of k has a limit function phi, then k phi n converges to k phi. If this condition is satisfied, then we say that the linear operator k that is continuous. Now next we discuss some of the properties of Fredholm operator k. So the first property is Fredholm operator k that is bounded. So in order to prove this, let us take k phi denoted by the function psi. Now by definition, k phi means integral kst phi t dt. Now taking mod and squaring both sides, we get psi s mod square is equal to integral kst phi t dt mod square. Now by Cauchy's squares inequality, this is less than or equal to integral kst mod square dt into integral phi t mod square dt. Now by definition, this is phi norm square, and this term we have kept as it is. Now integrating both sides with respect to s. Here integrating with respect to s, we get integral psi mod square ds. Here integrating with respect to s, this term will become this. Now left side is psi norm square. So taking positive square root on both sides, from here we get psi norm is less than or equal to phi norm into the double integral kst mod square ds dt square root. Now so substituting the value of psi is k phi. So this will become k phi norm is less than or equal to phi norm into the square root of double integral kst ds dt. Now because the kernel k is square integrable function, so this term will be finite, and therefore if we take the supremum over all phi of norm 1, we get k norm is less than infinity. So this proves that Fredholm operator is bounded. Next property of this operator is that the norm of k is same as norm of its adjoint. So in order to prove this, let us consider inner product of k phi with psi. Now by the property of k, this can be written as inner product of phi with k star psi. This is valid for all the square integrable functions. So in particular, if we take this function psi as k phi, substituting here this is k phi, and also here we substituted psi as k phi. Now by using Cauchy's squares inequality, that is less than or equal to phi norm into the norm of this term. Now because these are bounded, we already discussed Fredholm operator is bounded. So using the property of boundedness, this quantity is further less than or equal to k star norm into k phi norm. So on the left side we have k phi norms here. K phi norm is cancelled from both sides. So we get k phi norm is less than or equal to phi norm into k star norm. Now taking supremum over all phi of norm 1. On the left side, if you take supremum over all phi of norm 1, this will become norm of k. On the right side, we are taking supremum over all phi of norm 1, this will become k star norm. So we have proved k norm is less than or equal to k star norm. Now if we replace the function phi in this equation by the function k star psi and using the same steps as in the previous equations, we get k star norm is less than or equal to k norm. So combining the two inequalities, we get k star norm is equal to k norm. So these are some of the properties of the operator k.